I did mention that the difference between trading and investing, well, I did explain trading to you in the last one, and I do not agree that trading is a good idea. Investing, on the other hand, is a great idea. Investing for the long term. So doing your research, saying, I will invest in this and I do not need to sell this. I'm not going to try and time the market. I am just going to invest in this thing, in this product. This either an individual company or an index fund. I do recommend an index fund, and I'll explain what an index fund is. An index fund is best described as a basket of funds. So imagine a basket and you have put loads of funds, loads of different individual companies in that fund, and you are just buying the basket. So you are buying the basket. Now, I like to see for example, the S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in America. So if you invest in this index fund, S&P 500, you are investing in the top 500 funds. Now, some funds may fall in and out. They may get relegated from this top 500 fund. If they underperform, they get relegated, and other individual companies that were not previously in the S&P 500 can be promoted into it. This is very much like a football league table. I would like to say the Premier League, the English Premier League table. We know at the end of the season that teams get relegated because they have underperformed against the league, and teams in the Championship will get promoted into the Premier League because they have overperformed the second division, which is the Championship. This is a great way of looking at it. So when you think of index funds, instead of looking at an individual team in the Premier League and betting on that team, so we're not going to say, I will bet on Manchester City, I will bet on Manchester United, I will bet on Arsenal. We are not saying this. We are not picking the individual team. What we're actually doing when we're buying the S&P 500, when we're buying an index fund, we are saying, I am betting on the Premier League to be the best league. That's what I'm betting on. And you are bound to be right, because although football teams can fail and are very volatile, the league itself is very secure. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what to expect from the league itself. So when I'm talking about index funds, I'm talking about betting on the league, betting on the top 500 companies in America. The FTSE 100 is the top 100 companies in the United Kingdom. So these are index funds, and I absolutely think that you should invest in index funds. You bet on the league and not the individual company or the individual team. You make that bet on the league. And I think this is the best way to do it, because you can invest in there and you know that the league will be supported and propped up by teams that are promoted with better performance. And as society improves, constantly gets more efficient, the more efficient society gets, the more the index fund, the more the league, the more the S&P 500, the more the FTSE 100 will grow. So just bet on an index fund, know which index fund you want, and we will talk a little bit later on about diversification and the types of index funds that you want. But once you've identified the index fund that you want, just invest in that index fund, regularly pay into the index fund on a monthly basis, and that's it. You don't even need to check it. You may only need to check it once a month just to update your net worth spreadsheet, but that's it. You don't actually need to check the index fund and do anything to it. So you can leave that for years and years and years once you've made the right decision. So like I mentioned, I do not condone trading. I think it's a terrible idea, but I absolutely think investing in index funds is the right way to go to reach your financial freedom, to reach financial independence.